Adamantium Shadow Poo!
Hello and welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters Shadow Show. This is a show that we make every other week for our loyal patrons who support us. So if you are a patron, you are if you're watching this, you know that you get us every week, where the rest of the world only gets us every other week. So think about how special that makes you and how good that makes us feel. Yes. It's a lot. So yeah, I'm Jacob Malcolm.
I'm Matt Howell.
So Matt, I just told you I'm drinking Campari and soda tonight. I like to say in honor of the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. And yeah, got my Green Arrow cup. And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking classic old German out of my Archers of Loaf koozie. That is my
Archers of Loaf koozie. That's awesome.
White Trash Heroes.
Yeah, oh, it's great.
Got that on that tour, 1998. Been using this koozie for 25 years.
You know, me and I love the Archers of Loaf. I saw them at La Luna. I can't remember on which tour, but like back in the 90s. And I loved them. I forget. I go like a decade being like totally forgetting that band.
Oh, man.
And then I binge all their stuff and I'm just like, oh, this band's fucking great. And I forget for another like 5 years. I don't know why. Why is that?
For me, the 90s, like mid 90s was Built to Spill, Pavement, Archers of Loaf. Those were my three guiding musical lights. So I saw them on a reunion tour in the last year. They put a new album out, which was shockingly fucking good. I don't know if you've heard it yet.
No, I haven't.
Worth checking out. Towards the end, they kind of started, you know how bands do that thing? We'll just both do this. How bands do that thing where like the main dude, like maybe Mac from Superchunk, like, you know, would get into like Yiddish music or something like that. And like, it's not going to affect Superchunk, bro. It's not going to affect Superchunk. I'm doing a Yiddish side album. And you're like, cool. And then like you hear like what is that? Isn't that Superchunk? Was that a horn? What the fuck was that? And then you hear like a flute and like, then all of a sudden they're a Yiddish fucking punk pop band. Like, I hate when bands do that. And the main dude, Eric Bachman from Archers, is a music like master student, and like he studied like world stuff, and I think he actually got into like some Eastern European music. And the last album, you can kind of hear it start to creep in a little bit. He had some side projects he did that were awesome. He did one thing, forgot what it's called, but like Tragic Animal Stories is the name of the album, and he had like a Barry Black, I think was his pseudonym, and it was just all cool, like different, you know, instrumental things, like old timey sounding stuff. But yeah, they came back and like stopped that shit and just did hard fucking rock again, and it was fucking great. So I was very happy when they did a reunion and they sounded like them and not like klezmer. That's the word I was trying to fucking think that entire time I was talking. I was like, God, what that word is something?
Klezmer. Yes.
Anyway, Archers of Loaf. Yes.
Archers of Loaf.
Before we dive in here, Jacob, I did want to mention a couple things. You mentioned the Shadow Show and that we appreciate everyone's support here. I did want to say we've had an uptick in people upgrading and adding on to the Patreon.
Really?
So thank you, everybody. I think people are digging this, and I love that. It makes me very happy.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear.
And another announcement. One of the gated content we released, that's Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #2, the Jim Steranko story that we covered because of the Brad Carter and PDQ Werner connection. Our PAC member, Matt Harvey, hopped on the Patreon and left a comment and said, you know, I think when I was talking about these censored pages and how the Comics Code made him change some panels, I missed a panel. So he was saying, I think you missed one. There's like a panel in the middle of the bottom row that originally Steranko drew the phone with the handset off the cradle, what he called the analog do not disturb. And the Comics Code said that's too racy because people wonder, what are they doing? So they made him redraw it with the fucking handset on the cradle, which is like, what's the point?
So the Comics Code, they're like, no, you need to be able to be disturbed.
Yes.
Like you can't, no. That won't do.
You can't fully enjoy your sex.
Yeah. I love it. Oh yeah. Phone off the hook, man. Oh man.
Anyway, thank you, Matt, for pointing that out. I've been sharing that art here. So this, I missed some more censorship of Steranko. They just didn't like him.
Oh. All right. Well, what do you think?
I think we're ready. And I'm also want to mention that I'm glad we read that Nick Fury thing because I feel like some things are converging here. Did you get a sense of like some of the stuff coming back?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. I'm not a betting man. I hate wasting money. I'd rather buy food or booze with my money. But I feel like there was a reason he pulled these random characters out of that story. I feel like that's all I'm going to say. Just predictions.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I love it.
Mark it, dude.
Mark it.
Before you start on this first page, I did share with you, Jacob, in the trade of this, there is a really nice pinup that occurs in Rampaging Hulk #2 before the story starts, and it's not in like any scans we have. So if you're looking at this online, I'm not sure if it's in the Marvel Horror Omnibus edition either, but there's a nice Marshall Rogers, I believe is the artist, pinup. And it actually shows a piece of new gear that our character has in this issue, which kind of comes out of nowhere. They don't call it out in there either. It's the same masthead that Jacob read last time. But yeah, it was a very cool pinup, which you can obviously see here. But those weird gauntlets he's wearing are kind of new, and they didn't really get called out, and he wasn't wearing them 10 minutes ago story-wise. So
that's weird.
Kind of weird.
That is weird.
Okay.
Huh. And it does say it's from Rampaging Hulk 2. It's not from something else or just added into the trade or...
That's a really good question. I'm checking right now because now you're making me doubt myself.
Sorry.
Nope.
Rampaging. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, #2.
By Marshall Rogers.
Isn't that a beaut?
But it's not on any of the scans.
No. And the scans have the cover, the back page, every bit of story from the Hulk and Bloodstone, but not the pinup. So that's a shame.
That is a shame. Huh. All right.
Okay.
But anyhow, yeah. So in Rampaging Hulk 2, we're going to continue the Curtis Magazine Bloodstone Saga, which is, yes, we like a lot more than the 2 color comics debut of the character. So yeah, this first page, Stan Lee presents Bloodstone, and we basically are starting off where we left off before, even though I really do dig this page because, yeah, we have the giant monster, we have Gorum, but then we have kind of kaiju Bloodstone behind him, like almost in the mist, like kind of coming out. It's great. It's a really cool opening page, and I know, Matt, you and I like that weird little thing. I don't know exactly what we would call it.
It's like thematic, like it's like an overture in a musical or something, right? Or an opera. Like you get some themes, you get some kind of like a big sweeping thing that's not concrete and meant to be actually happening. But I really love that dramatic kind of device.
I love that too. And I mean, but can't this also kind of be considered like what you were talking about that we need a name for as well? Like from the, like at the beginning of a Rockford Files episode.
Oh,
where it just shows you.
I did not think of that.
Like
yes.
Everything that's going to happen. Like, we talk about that. I don't know. We talk about it a lot, but we always do this. So I think we need to figure out what like a prologue or something.
It's like prologue meets foreshadowing or something. It's like it's like Muad'Dib is seeing it. Like this is, if you step off the golden path, this could happen.
You got an angel making some trouble. Rocky's like, don't go there, Rockford. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So anyhow, I really do like this. I really do like this opening page. It's pretty cool. And as we'll see with this issue, Gorum talks more, I think, this issue maybe than he did, and maybe that wasn't the greatest choice scripting wise, but yeah, Gorum talks a lot, so we're not going to be reading all of his speech, that's for sure.
Felt a little less sinister and foreboding when he was kind of yapping at you like Hulk or something.
He's just Hulk.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know if he's like, oh, this is the Hulk magazine, they're not going to understand.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be in Hulk speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
I don't know much about Bob Brown. So
didn't we have Bob? Well, Bob Brown, I thought, didn't Bob Brown do some Creature Commando stuff?
Did he? Damn. If he did, you might be right.
That's why I didn't look him up.
If that's the case, I sure like Rudy inking over him then.
Yep, me too.
Okay, we'll just move on then.
Okay,
so on the next page, Gorum is still underground, and he has walked off. We saw him walking off, remember, like holding his little briefcase between his giant claws, and he was all happy. And then he just stops and he says, here's where Gorum was told to wait. So like he said, when he starts like reasoning things and explaining his thinking and his rationale, again, he gets very unsinister, like whatever. Mm-hmm. But I love that this cave opens up and this giant bit of light bounces out on him. And he just freezes stock still and he's frozen in place, transfixed, unable to move. He looks rad. Every panel he's in looks fucking amazing. Like some goddamn medieval wood carving or something like that of demons. And then another thing opens up in the mountain underwater, and this little like thing. I imagine this has to be the Jetsons sound, like like this little thing comes out. And a little weird thing pops out next to him.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. After the first page and the second page, I was like, "Oh, okay. This is going to be good." Bob Brown did not. I was mixing it up. So Bob Brown actually was a Silver Age artist who worked on Challenges of the Unknown and just a bunch of different stuff. He died in 77, and he did lots of cool stuff, but did not do Creature Commandos.
Okay, he dies in 77. He was mostly in the Silver Age. He's an old man at this point. This is supporting our theory from last episode that Rudy is driving this car.
Yeah, absolutely. Rudy's driving this car. Yeah. So, and which we loved last time. So I'll have Rudy drive this car any day.
Yeah. But I was with you, Jacob. The first 2 pages, I was like, okay, so Jacob mentioned Flash Gordon last issue at the very end. Definitely in silly Flash Gordon land still.
Yeah, like super silly Flash Gordon land. Yeah. But no, I know. I mean, the submersible looks super cool and also looks like old as fuck. Like it's from that I know it didn't happen underwater, like that serial that Gene Autry was in.
Oh god, the Phantom Empire.
The Phantom Empire.
I love that.
It's so awesome. But it looked like something from the Phantom Empire, but no, that's way more big budget than Phantom Empire ever could be. But
meets Thunderbirds Are Go.
Yeah, very much so. It is definitely more Thunderbirds Are Go. Yeah. Next page, the craft settles down and 2 henchmen get out there. They're like, careful with Godzilla there. And they say that there's a paralysis beam. So they've paralyzed Gorham and now are taking the briefcase with the Bloodstone, going back to their little submersible and taking it back. So, but they do call their boss. What do we do with him? And the other guy says, nothing. He's the Big C's problem, which is conspiracy, right? Yeah, the Big C.
Is it?
Is it?
Because Shrike is not on their side, and Shrike is hired by the conspiracy.
Exactly. So
I have a theory. We'll share this at the end.
Okay, I was confused, but no, you're right. So, Big C. Yeah. So that's a nice little foreshadowing we get. Yeah. I do like Gorham looks really badass on that bottom panel as they're flying away. Like he just looks great. Yeah, Rudy just is the artist. I don't want to denigrate pencilers in general, but I don't think they're doing heavy pencils. I think this is layouts and roughs. And Rudy's just coming in and doing it.
Yep. I think that's the assignment. Seemed like a nice gig to throw to an old aging guy who's about to drop dead in 6 months.
Yep.
Let him just do the layouts. There's just like every head is just a oval with a cross on it. I think it's about that level, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Rudy, I mean, man, and it's fine. And like you're saying, you don't mean to denigrate pencilers. Like,
no, not at all.
Every penciler inker relationship, every one is different.
Yep.
And it can be different between 2 of them gig to gig. Like, they're always different. And in this case, it's one of those ones where somebody's going stick figure with, whatever. And then someone's coming in and making gorgeous stuff. Frank Ducoy or whoever would come in and just be like, I get to go nuts. And they're all different.
And he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next page, we cut back. It's now 12 hours later since that luxury ship, the whole battle happened and it limped into port. And we see a fucking super cool boat on skis jetting off across the water. And it's got Samantha and Ulysses in it and Brad. And she wants to know where they're going. And he says, well, Samantha, you're about to see what few people have seen. Bloodstone's base of operations, what we affectionately call Bloodstone Island. TM, place set forthcoming. He says, hold it, Brad. We've got company. I love that panel. Like, that's every goddamn underwater adventure type of thing, ever. He's like, and Brad says, that's what I like about working for you, boss. As it says, Chapter 2, Battle of Bloodstone Island. And we pull out this giant panorama of an island with these crazy Kirby towers built into it, and Gorb's standing there 70 stories tall, And Brad finishes this thought, never a dull moment, as they hydroplane off of the water onto the sand. That's pretty fucking cool.
Oh, it's very cool. The vehicles in this are badass.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt about that. And yeah, I mean, again, that bottom panel, it takes up 2/3 of the page. I mean, Gorham looks amazing. Everything is like super space age, but it's definitely leaned into Flash Gordon.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very heavy. I was a little shocked. Gorham says he came to find more glowing stones, but he was attacked again. So he's noticed their arrival.
Never a dull moment. Oh, boy. Yeah, and next page, so Gorham sees a Bloodstone. And yeah, Bloodstone's quipping a lot this issue, which is fine. He gets
talky.
to. Yeah, he is talky. He's like, you remember my name? Good. Maybe you also remember the special shotgun, in quotes, I carry, with some rather unique adjustments built into its design. I still think, I mean, at first I'm just like, and so he shoots his shotgun to, you know, just kind of propel him into the air. The first time I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty badass. And now I'm like, it's just a little awkward.
It's a little weird. You have to be back, like propel yourself backwards.
That's the thing. If he was
Launch me, boy.
forwards, if it was forwards, it'd be amazing. But but it's just like wee. He's just yeah. It's I don't know. It's pretty goofy. But yeah. Then Gorham catches him in his giant hand, and that man, that panel there, just with Gorham's face and the way that the fingers look and everything, it's so cool.
Yeah, he looks like I love the way his jaw looks like a snake or something like that. That could like dislocate to like swallow something big. He's like Death Adder from the Serpent Society or something.
Yeah, I feel like Rudy leaned into that a little bit more. I feel like Gorham's design changed slightly, or maybe it's just that he's not in underwater for the most part. But I feel like Rudy kind of streamlined his design, or at least figured it out a little more. Because I like this Gorham better than last issue.
So do I.
Yeah. And then Gorham throws Bloodstone into his some of his cool, like, I don't know, it reminded me of like the house that Troy McClure lived in.
Totally.
It's just like
there's an aquarium in it.
Yep.
It's just one wall is an aquarium.
But what does Silva say? Oh, it's like it's from the future, the not too distant future. Yeah.
Yeah, so he wanted to get up there. So this is actually good for Bloodstone, that he got thrown up onto this tower. So, so next page, Gorham's still ranting. Bah, Gorham came for gems, not to fight Human. And Brad and Samantha are down there. Samantha's clicking away. Brad says, sheesh, to listen to him, you think we were the trespassers. And then Bloodstone's happy. And as you can see up here, he's working a control panel, and he has the black Under Armour on, like with the full sleeves,
I
like
know.
Cruella de Vil, but he has those weird gauntlets with like braces between. We don't know what's going on. We saw it in the pinup, and no explanation yet. He said, you picked the wrong island to raid. I keep a lot of valuables on this island, and I keep them well protected. Click, as he pushes a button with a cool close-up of his hand. And then below we see these Dr. Octopus Waldo arms come swarming out, with a crackling with electricity and wrapping Gorham up. Every big panoramic type of action panel is just amazing. I mean, everything's amazing in this, but all the big stuff showing like Harryhausen type of things is just great.
Yeah, no, and he's using them quite a bit, which I love. I think it's awesome. And then now we are in chapter 3, Enter the Shrike. And so we see it's a full splash page of Gorham, just being kind of trying to be pulled apart by these Doc Ock arms. And he's saying, no, can't break free. But Bloodstone's like, the energy crackling around those cables are sapping your strength. And they're going to hold him until he can devise some sort of containment. But he wants to learn who controls Gorham most of all. And then, we see our two other heroes, Sam and Brad. I love Sam's like, Brad, if this turns out to be some sort of cosmic stunt your ex-producer is pulling to get free publicity for his next film... Brad's like, bite your tongue, Sam. PDQ never had this much imagination.
I love whenever he's alluded to as being a hack. Like, it always makes me laugh.
that Brad's an insufferable actor and PDQ's a hack.
Yeah.
They're good jokes. They're
hilarious.
Yeah, they're really good.
One thing I will note that who did layouts last? Was that Sal last time?
I thought it was John last time.
Was it? Whoever, the one difference between Brad's the last issue and this issue, Brad's very much a pretty boy here, whereas he was a ruggedly masculine guy in the last, every time we've seen him before now.
Yeah, right. His
Ken doll now.
He is. He's smooth and has, he's much more, playset handsome. This is playset Brad. It's different. It's different than your G.I. Joe sized doll, Brad.
Yeah. I mean, they both come with Oscars, so it's fine. Okay, so at this precise moment, floating way above the island, we see Shrike, the guy we met at the end of last issue. He says, well, things are really popping today. The question is, if Aluxel didn't send that critter after Bloodstone's gems, and neither did the conspiracy, then who did? I love these sitting up there in the lotus position, thinking, just floating up in the clouds. And then he says, well, I'm going to have to get an answer to that question because the conspiracy doesn't take well to competition. So he is hired by them. He's a merc. And so the only way to figure out who is behind this, he's going to cut Gorham loose, have him go out to sea and track him back to his lair, and then find out who's pulling the strings on Gorham. So he says, it means I'll have to move fast to avoid a confrontation with Bloodstone, something I'd rather not have on his home ground. But nothing stops Killer Shrike as he comes swooping in. I like his design. He's charming looking, goofy, but charming.
No, his design is great. The art in this is great. I love the different directions the art and design are going in. But man, the script and the dialogue's pretty corny for Warner.
Very corny.
It's really, I didn't expect this to be the direction. I expected it to get kind of like cool and a little more Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. than. Yeah,
more Stranko.
I thought that seemed like the direction it was going in. And this, I'm just like, oh boy, this is. Corny.
It is. It's big sci-fi silliness, rather, where we were kind of thinking more like, man in the shadows who's kept us from peril over the centuries or something like that. And this is a little more punch things and comb your hair. Pretty blonde hair stuff.
I want that to be a genre film. Punch things and comb your hair. Pretty hair. So, yes. Next page, we're back to Gorham, who is still getting shocked and drained by this. But Bloodstone's realizing that someone knows about the blood gems, which means they know about him, they know about the island. And then, in the next panel, Killer Shrike comes and tears the Doc Ock arms off. And all of his quips are pretty corny. There you go, beastie. You wanted free and you got it. Courtesy of the conspiracy. I don't know. I mean, if you're a conspiracy, you don't yell, you're the conspiracy as loud as you possibly fucking can. Bad conspirator.
Yeah.
But I love Gorham's just like, don't know human or conspiracy, but Gorham will stay and smash. And so then, Killer Shrike, he's Peter Parker quipping through this whole thing. I was just like, God damn, man. Calls him scare. Come on, scare puss. You can come back and smash all you want later.
It's not even Peter Parker from this decade. It's not. Silver Age Peter Parker. That is fucking Stan Lee quipping.
So dumb.
Yeah. So I like that panel when Bloodstone's realizing like someone's aware of like my activities, my hideout. That's a cool note,
Yeah, it is.
More of what we expect from John Warner, like leave cool beats and like these tantalizing gems, these breadcrumbs that we can follow. Instead of this big action. I don't think Warner handles big action that great.
He doesn't script it that great. That's for sure. I mean, he doesn't dialogue. I mean, I don't know. You're right. I just think maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I mean, as big as the scope was of, some of his Son of Satan stories or other ones, I don't know. Maybe he's just like, oh shit, this is in Rampaging Hulk.
That's what I'm wondering.
I want this to keep going. I want to be able to tell this story. But I think while a lot of writers and artists, when they move to the magazines, they're like, cool, I get to do stuff that's cool as fuck and kind of dark and maybe has some boobs in it. And Warner kind of does the other. He kind of goes the other path to where he's just like, shit, this has to be even more like, I don't know, like, why should this be more for the kids or simple or silly? I don't know.
Well, it's a magazine, so.
No code. No any. I mean, that's been. I mean, that's the market. The market is adults, is late teens and adults.
Yep. College students.
Yeah.
Soldiers, people that wanted a little more cleavage, a little more violence, a little more refined art, you know? So, yeah, I think you're right. I think that he's hoping that he can parlay this into an ongoing thing. And he's like, well, I have these 7 story beats. And if I just kind of sprinkle them out every 3rd issue and just have big dumb stuff happening, you know, 1 story issue, 2 big fight issues, 1 story, you know, I'm able to make this last for 2 years or something, you know?
I guess. I don't know. It just seems like he's holding himself back, and he's just like, oh, okay, I have to dumb this down. It feels like he's consciously dumbing down his story, and I don't know why. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I feel that as well. I did not notice until, first of all, when he says "don't know human or conspiracy," but Gorm will stay and smash. That's when I hit that point personally. Where it's like, all right, you don't need to talk. It's like Fran Drescher and Spinal Tap. You don't talk so much. You just smile and nod, okay?
Oh man.
Yeah, courtesy of the conspiracy. Courtesy of the Illuminati. You can find us at Bohemian Grove.
I know.
Here's the address.
Because you just know Killer Shrike is so loud.
Yeah,
like he just has the loudest voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if he goes to a theater and he's in the same screening you are, like you hear every thought he has about the movie.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Okay. So he's freed him. He's swooped off and basically tells like Gorm, like, no, dude, don't stay here and fight. Just leave. Let's go. And so he starts marching off, and Ulysses thinks, I don't know who this character is, but he must be with Gorm, which means I've got to stop him now. He just shoots his giant cannon at him. Kablam! And it concusses Shrike, and he falls to the ground. His senses are fouled up as Gorm's diving into the water. Meanwhile, Brad's jumping into their cool boat thing they have, hydroplane, whatever the hell that thing is. He's like, Gorm's getting away, but we can't lose him now. And then I love that he's like, this little tub is our only chance. And a little thing seals up and it becomes a submarine.
I know.
It's got everything. So voila, instant submarine, and they dive under and start following Gorm. So they're on the same trail.
I know. I mean, the 7-year-old boy in me seeing this, and I'm just like, God damn. I mean, that's never not cool. It's always cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is not, this isn't Baron Thunder. Like, this isn't for 12-year-old boys.
No, it's not.
This is for like 18-year-old people. Like I said, like stone college students. I mean, this is still cool for them too, but
it is.
it just feels like it's aimed a little lower age-wise than Warner should be writing at. I agree with what you're saying. I'm like coming around to it as I'm processing it or talking.
Yeah, it's confusing to me.
Yeah.
But okay, we've reached the interlude, and we are, it says, a commercial airliner en route to Geneva, now somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And we see one of its passengers, Dr. Oliver Quinn. He's going to go to the International Conference of Scientists.
Ooh, that sounds prestigious.
That sounds very prestigious and specific. So we hear, this is your captain speaking. We are expecting some minor air turbulence upcoming. Nothing serious, you understand. He's like, what the hell? And then, I don't know, maybe one of the coolest comic panels I've seen ever. I don't know. And suddenly the bottom panel, oh my God, what is that? Like a manta ray?
With bird talons.
With pterodactyl talons? Or bird talons? Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you my suspicions as we're going, or do you want me to share them at the end?
No. Share them as we're going. Oh, shit.
Who fucks with evolution and makes weird new creatures?
Okay.
Whose name starts with C?
Okay.
We just saw him.
Yeah, we did just see him battle Nick Fury. So
Centurious could do this.
Shit, you're right. He could.
So if Mr. C is not conspiracy, yes, Mr. C. I think it's Centurious.
Yeah.
Because who else would make this thing? Which I fucking love. I want to get a back tattoo of that fucking thing, dude.
I do. Holy shit. Yeah, everything about that art is, just unreal amazing.
That's when I started thinking, okay, I think this is Centurious, because he could make this. He could manipulate this shit.
It's a great guess. I mean, I really hope that prediction is correct.
Okay. That's almost a shirt worthy panel, but I'm going to move on. I'm not going to get hung up on it. Meanwhile, chapter 4, showdown with the Shrike. And then I love this little note. Let us backtrack just a moment. It is approximately 1.5 seconds since page 10, panel 3. So we're jumping back. Killer Shrike never hit the ground. So he was falling concussed, and he swoops at the last second, pulls himself out of it, and he's diving towards Ulysses. That was some cute trick you pulled with your gun, only it wasn't good enough. And so he dives towards, wait, well, what does he slam into there? Oh, trees?
It looks like trees, yeah. It's just
I think
not
Ulysses dove out of the way?
That's,
or ducked?
Yes.
Okay. So he's like,
I know.
Okay, I thought that was a little confusing, but
it is a little confusing.
I think it looks like Ulysses is ducking. I love the way he looks in the foreground of that middle panel.
He looks awesome.
And he says, you won't get a second chance. I'm pretty eloquent on that subject, or maybe you noticed. And then he's Zrax. So he shoots an energy beam
out
of his gauntlets. And he has cool talons, almost like Ulysses does on his boots, but they're on his wrists. These guys are made for each other, like to be arch enemies, like Joker and Batman.
So yeah, I love it. It continues on the next page. I do like these, and I know they look good. Like, it's funny. We kind of sometimes poo-poo the 4-panel pages in comics, but in magazines, they look awesome.
They do.
Like, I wouldn't mind a whole story with that. I'm just like, no, this is awesome. But yeah, in this one, so you get 4 really beautiful panels. So cool. So I love that Shrike calls him Doc Savage.
I love that he called him out.
So come on, Doc Savage, say something before I deliver your head to the conspiracy. He says, well, we have at least one similarity, Killer Shrike. In the heat of battle, I prefer to speak with action. And then he just, so awesome, he throws these shells, and the shells are coming right at us. And it's just, goddamn, the art on that panel is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and although I have questions concerning this conspiracy, they will wait. He throws shells. And Shrike's like, what the? You're joking. And he's like, not at all. The gun is merely a launcher. The shells are detonated mentally. Or maybe you notice. Drink for that.
Drink for a new power all of a sudden?
Mental detonation? Jesus.
Yeah, we thought they were just shotgun shells that were, for killing whales. But apparently, apparently they also have a mental component to them.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And yeah, that last panel of Shrike just getting blowed up.
Yeah, that second panel is something else that shading that Rudy does on stuff, that striation. I don't get tired of it, and he does it all the time. It's his signature thing so far, and I love it.
Yeah, he's so good.
That first panel's a little dodgy. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
Like that. You looked like a rough.
You don't like the Zack coming, like it's like he's shooting it between his legs. It's like Bloodstone is shooting it. I don't mind
the Zack. I think Bloodstone looks a little dodgy. His face in particular.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that feels like a first pass, like a thumbnail.
It does.
Also, Shrike in that last panel, as he's getting blasted, looks amazing.
He does.
The detail on that, like this, the anatomy and stuff. Mm-hmm. So cool. And that starburst explosion. So Shrike's pissed. That does it, jerk. I'm going to tear you to pieces. He charges at him. His talons are glowing with energy now, so he's building up for some big attack. And then he says, managed to block with my wrist guards. So this is a story beat. This new piece of equipment he has on his forearms matters. Like, he calls it out, but they didn't explain why it's there. It's so weird.
Yeah.
If those talons connect, I might be able to cash it in after all. I may be immortal, but I'm not invulnerable. I feel like Warner's still trying to kind of work out like what that means 100%. Like, we talked about the potential hell of running out of oxygen underwater and just being stuck there alive. Like, that's like whatever. But some of the stuff's like, so you get really burnt. Like,
yeah, but if he's like, if he's caught in a thresher or something, is he just like chopped up meat? He's like, oh, I can't die though.
Yeah. God damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you ever read God Hates Astronauts?
Yes. Yeah, you gave me a copy of it.
Okay. Isn't there a character in there that's invulnerable? That's like his main power set?
Yes.
So he just gets punched and beaten and his head
gets all huge.
All just distended and shattered teeth, and it's horrifying. It's like, that's exactly what would happen. If you're immortal, you would just get beat to shit and just be a pile of mush.
Yeah, you're just like, well, still here. Yeah, no, I had never read. I mean, you sent me a copy of that maybe, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd never read it. And yeah, actually just recently got it out again to reread.
I need to read it. I gave you mine because I bought the omnibus when he kickstarted
that's right.
it. And so I need to reread the whole. I didn't read the rest of the stuff, like the second half. So
okay.
I need to do that again. God, that fucking book. So good.
It's great. Okay.
So yeah, they're battling. Shrike's realizing that Ulysses is a better fighter than he is hand to hand, but he has a cool karate kick. And he's like, just think what Bruce Lee might have done without the laws of gravity to contend with, as he's kicking Ulysses in the face. Ulysses pulling himself up. You're good, Killer Shrike. You've trained your body well and your talents are formidable. But this sounds very like Wu-Tang Clan, but I've trained for 10,000 years. And if you think I'm going to be stopped by a mere hired assassin, you can forget it. As he punches Shrike in the face, I guess, as he's falling down to the ground, landing or something.
Yeah, some of his dialogue in this, you would expect it could be in an interlude of Liquid Swords.
Totally.
Or totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Very Kung Fu Theater.
So yeah, fight continues. Next page. Bloodstone's really getting the drop on him. And clocks him one. Shrike goes up to get him with his gauntlets, saying, "This was to be my baptism of fire, to show the conspiracy what I could do." And then Bloodstone takes his arms and has his gauntlets meet, smashes his arms and hands together. Says, "I'm afraid the conspiracy will just have to reconsider your application." And then slaps his hands together and and so he
Wilhelm scream.
It was pretty much. And Bloodstone explains, thank God, ramming his talons together overloaded his power packs. And he says he'll be all right, but he'll need time to recover from some very serious burns.
One of the superpowers is detecting power packs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm drinking for that. Watch out.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Great art on this page, though.
Really great art. Yeah, I mean, the art in this whole thing is great. I mean, there's a tiny bit of dodgy stuff, but honestly, I mean, we were saying how much we love Rudy, but a lot of the action underwater was very difficult. Mm-hmm. The last issue took a while to read because you're just like, I don't understand what's happening here. And you have to stop and you have to go back and nothing, there are a few like dodgy faces in this one. Some that you say maybe looked more like a rough thumbnail, but it's all very clear. We're not like, what's going on? So that was kind of nice.
Yeah. I really want to see 1985 John Byrne draw Killer Shrike.
Oh, all right. That's a
good
amazing call. He would look amazing.
All right. So Shrike's down for the count. Sometime later, deep beneath the ocean, Brad and Samantha have caught up to Gorham, and they're like, he's just standing there. There's just nothing but rocks. And then all of a sudden there's a tractor beam again. It doesn't get more Flash Gordon-y serial silly than that.
No.
Like they get pulled up by a tractor beam. I think PDQ's favorite actor has just been had. So they get pulled up into a hatch into this playset. Hoo-wee, pay dirt. Someone's got themselves one heck of a private submarine pen. I feel like Brad lost a couple IQ points between last issue and this issue as well.
Yeah, no, I don't think last issue Brad. Yeah, last issue Brad wouldn't go hoo-wee.
Damn. Okay. So he says, I better go see if I can get Bloodstone on the radio and then off panel. Oh, I would not do that if I were you. And then a hairy insecty hand grabs him on the shoulder. And it says, Bloodstone will come, but only when I am ready for him. And then we get this shocked panel. No, it can't be. But it most obviously is, my friend. Another tally in the Centurious column for me. He knows who this is.
Yeah, exactly. And who else do we know that Brad knows who they are? So, yeah. No, that's a good point, Tiffany. Yeah.
PDQ.
PDQ. Oh my God, it was PDQ. It was PDQ all along. Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny.
That would be funny.
Like Theater of Blood, like Vincent Price type of like level of revenge for mocking his films.
All right, final page says, at that moment inside Bloodstone's main living quarters. And he's explaining, I probably owe you a lot of explanation, Miss Eden, but I don't know where to begin or what you'll believe. And goes on kind of very coolly, describes his whole deal. He says, and then all this you will have to deal with in whatever piece you end up writing on me. But perhaps you should see some of my work. So I love that he's just like, okay, she's my PR woman now.
Yep.
Like, she's just going to write a badass, like, broadside of me.
Yep.
And so he hands her this, he goes into a file cabinet like Buck Cowan, and he has just like clippings and shit. And she hands it to her. She says, these are newspaper and magazine clippings. Among them, a series I wrote concerning the disappearances of certain prominent members of the scientific community. And he's like, exactly. And now Brad Carter is among the missing. Not a scientist.
No.
But, at all, especially not this issue, Brad Carter. But, a funny little like Watchmen thing going on here a little
Totally.
bit. But
it's like a bad Kolchak.
it is. She's like, you think there's a connection? Then that's why you allowed me, a journalist here. And I love Bloodstone. He could have just been like, yep, that was me all along. But he's like, no, but it has worked out to that. You have the press connections I need, as well as the deep background not printed in these articles. She says, yes, I can help. And I think we'll begin with Tony Stark. So I don't know about you, but I was like, aw, man. We don't need Avengers. It's fine. You're doing fine.
Yeah. Ted McGinley, right? That actor. He was he played the neighbors on Married with Children. He's a dashingly handsome guy, but they called him the show killer. Like whenever it's like later in the run of a show and he bring Ted McGinley on, I think that's his name. It's like that's the last days of the show. He came on Happy Days towards the end, I think. He was on Happy Days.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Iron Man is to me the Ted McGinley or whatever of like of series where it's like, and this is just starting, but it's like, wait, what does Werewolf by Night need? Tony Stark. Tony
Stark. It worked out so well for Werewolf by Night. Exactly. Why not do it right now?
Yeah.
Oh God!
Same year, I think, is cancellation of Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, this has to be the same year. Yeah, I guess they just thought Iron Man could solve all of their story problems, but turns out he makes it worse.
It's so funny that we have like you and I have the exact opposite reaction, like editors at Marvel, where it's just like, you know what this needs? Iron Man. I know this doesn't need the bubble of like internal coherent storytelling pierced by Marvel superheroes coming in. That's the last thing it needs.
Yeah, always. It's always the last thing. And any of these Bronze Age stories, because they're their own universe that does obviously take place in Marvel continuity. But yeah, every time we're reminded of that, you and I just wince a little bit.
And it doesn't help that it was literally the last issue of Werewolf by Night. So that for me definitely is some deep PTSD.
We have deep trauma from that. We'll never forgive Tony Stark.
Yeah. So we get that little blurb.
Yeah, at the blurb it says, and with that little non sequitur, we announce next issue, The Golden Avenger, plus our mystery villain revealed.
So yeah, kind of final thoughts here. I think I already tipped my hand here. I'm pretty sure this is Centurious. I actually, when they first landed on that island, I didn't realize that was Bloodstone Island. And I was like, oh, this looks like where Nick Fury fought Centurious. And that's why it was on my brain.
Oh, okay.
And then when that weird, I remembered when I was reading this, when I was editing the last Shadow show, I was like, I love those weird ant guys, those hybrid human ant people. Oh, and that hand on Brad's shoulder, like that looks like one of those things almost. So that's when I was like, okay, this is Centurious.
I think you're right. And I do really, I think we stress this sometimes, but not as much anymore. We don't read ahead.
No, we do not.
We don't read ahead at all. Like, I feel like we need to say that like every 10 episodes or something like that.
No, that's
because we're always just like, what's going to happen?
Yeah. That's not theater. That's not bullshit. We're actually just as surprised as you are. All these reactions are completely real. It's usually just you and me reading these stories separately twice and then talking about them. That is the show.
That is our formula, and it's worked fairly well so far. So we're going to probably stick to it.
Yeah. So we've been talking about it, but I'll start. I was with you. I was a little dismayed at the tone and scope of the story compared to what I know John Warner does. Knowing that this is a passion project for him that he held on to for like 2 years and got a chance to do again, this felt a little big and silly for something that he'd been dreaming up and was really excited about, and he called cosmic in scope. So I was like, where's Alexel? Where's the hooded, the Lovecraftian gods and all the weird stuff that we're kind of being hinted at. Not seeing it here at all. Very marionette. Thunderbirds Are Go meets Flash Gordon meets whatever. I mean, the art's fucking gorgeous, so I'll look at it. I'll read it. But yeah, for me, it was a little bit of. Now, I'm sorry. Now I'm looking at that page where Brad's got grabbed by the shoulders. Those are clearly those Centurious things in the background that have him at gunpoint. I don't know why I didn't see that the first time. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with you 100%. The art is amazing, and the art kept me from being like, this sucks. But even like last issue, we got some kind of like spy stuff, and it seemed kind of cool, and everyone's dialogue and even the narration just was a one step or a couple steps cooler than it is here. Super dumbed down. I don't know why. I feel like this is Warner. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's editorial, but it seems like, I don't know. I really don't. But I feel like either Warner himself or someone else is just like dumb this down for like no good reason.
I think that our theory that we're talking about earlier was right, that he was thinking, I want to fit in with this magazine. I want this to last. And if I have to compromise, even without being asked to,
I think you're right.
I think he was playing to the magazine and thinking that he needed to. And I don't think he did. He
didn't. It was a bad call, storytelling wise.
That Moon Knight backup, that's Sienkiewicz early stuff, and looks like Neil Adams. That's fucking gold, man. That doesn't fit in with Rampaging Hulk at all.
No, it doesn't.
Scope or vibe or anything.
No, yeah. So I don't know. So that, I won't lie, that was a little disappointing. I thought it was going to be going story-wise in a much different direction, and it did not. Yeah, so I'm hoping for a little course correction. Not going to hold my breath because we have Iron Man next issue. So I'm hoping my proposed, like maybe it's really solid story, two kind of goofy big stories to keep the imagined fans out there happy, and then him writing some more of it, sharing some more of the master plan. So that's my hope. I hope so too. I really do. And I don't mind looking at this art. So that is fine with me. Definitely. But, yeah, I want a little more sinister, forbidding kind of eldritch horror type of stuff that was hinted at, rather than this big, bright playset stuff. Yeah. Cool. Well, folks, let us know if you agree, if you think we're crazy. But yeah, we're going to take a moment here, and then we're going to do a review of the movie because we've resumed watch-alongs. All right, Matt, we're going to talk about Deathmaster, released in 1972. And this is something that we watched on our watch-along, or you did. I was unable to make it, but I bet this was a fun watch-along. It was, like I said, the triumphant return of watch-alongs after an extended break from season 5. And a lot of folks were there. It was super fun. We had a blast. Everyone was chatting and just excited to see each other again. So it was a great time. Yeah, and so I picked this one. We decided to start voting. We're going to go like on the Creature Commandos roundabout. So I picked a Velcro pick, and then I said, people vote on which one you want. They picked, they wanted a Warren Griffith selection. So I picked potentially really, it's got a terrible reputation, called The Cross of the Seven Jewels. It's from like the late 80s. It's an Italian piece of shit, like Z-grade movie. It's supposed to be very, very sleazy. And like sleazy in every sense. So we're going to be watching that one with subtitles this weekend, and I'm excited to see that one, but I'm really excited to talk about Deathmaster. And I switched up my drink. I'm having a Bloody Beer in honor of Velcro and Corda the Vampire. Yeah, Corda. Wow. So I did love it. So you, so I missed the watch along. So you sent me a file. You sent me like an MKV. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And I don't know, maybe I was a little high. Maybe I was just a little more confused that evening than normal. And I'm really confused these days. But I think I just started playing it from Drive. Like I didn't download it and start playing it. When you play from the Drive, it will play like whatever the highest numbered audio track is. That is exactly what happened. And so, but of course I'm just like, oh, this is just the commentary. And so I listened to it for like a minute or two, paused it, and then texted you like, it's only the commentary track. Like, what's going on? And you did your nice Matt thing where I know in your head you're just like, fucking Jacob, stop being a dumbass. But you're like, no, you just need to. This is the one we watched with the watch along. Like, it has a real track on it. And it like the subtext is like, I know you can do it, champ. You can figure this out.
You're reading that, and that was not the subtext at all.
Okay,
that's hilarious.
But funny enough, though, after I did this, I was just like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna watch the. I don't know why I continued watching the commentary track. I think because I'm just like, who has ever done that? I'm the first person to ever do this. Watch a movie with the commentary before I've actually seen the movie. Trailblazer.
Did you watch it in that order?
Yeah, I did. I watched the commentary first, man.
That is wild.
It was awesome, actually. It was only awesome because this particular commentary is so entertaining from like just the first couple minutes. I don't know why. I think it's the combination of the two guys. You said it was Fred
Olen Ray.
Fred Olen Ray.
Director.
And he does a lot of like, I think with this, he does a lot of like archival stuff, right? And
yeah.
He'll put out DVDs and
yep.
Yeah. So, and this is this commentary track he was recording and with Robert Quarry. And it was just so entertaining just to hear them kind of talk about the production. And I don't know. I mean, you listened to the track. You did it the correct way.
Yeah,
and
I did.
Listen to the commentary. I did it backwards. So...
So what to say about this? This was directed by Ray Danton, who was also an actor. He was kind of I think he was one of those guys that maybe didn't quite have the career that he came out of the gate and was kind of like Rip Torn, like this guy's the next Brando. And then it just kind of didn't work out for him so much. And they kind of just bubbled under and were a respected actor, but never had that big, robust career they thought they were going to have. Ray Danton seems kind of like that. Like he got a Best Newcomer Award for a Golden Globe for something he was in called I'll Cry Tomorrow. And he ended up marrying Julie Adams from The Creature of the Black Lagoon. Lucky fucker. Every monster kid in the world has a crush on Julie Adams.
Yep.
She's one of the most beautiful women in the cinema of that era. He was married to her. He did some directing, so he did direct this. I knew him from Lucky the Inscrutable, a Jesus Franco movie, and a movie that's mostly known from Mystery Science Theater called Secret Agent Super Dragon. And he was in a handful of Euro spy kind of Bond, spaghetti Bond type of movies they did in Italy. But he picked up some directing over there. And so he directed this. And I mentioned to Jacob, I was kind of tripping out when I was looking Ray Danton up because like I knew him as an actor. I was wondering how much he directed. And then I realized that thing I mentioned that he got Best Newcomer for I'll Cry Tomorrow. And I was like, wait a minute. Is Brad Carter based on Ray Danton? Because he's very handsome, kind of dark looks, dark hair, dark eyes. And he was bragging to Tiffany that he got an Oscar for Tomorrow I'll Cry.
I think that's the one. Joke. No, that can't be. I mean, that can't be a coincidence. Like that has to be. Yeah, that has to be. Yeah, I mean, no, when you said that, I was like, well, I mean, I'll need proof why that's not true now. Yeah. Because that's obviously what happened. He is the inspiration for Brad Carter.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I enjoyed the film. Listening to Robert Quarry talk with Fred Olen Ray about this film and just hearing about this 1970 AIP B movie production world was more entertaining to me than the film was. The film's fine. The film's fun.
The film's fine, but yeah, that was really interesting. And I just love that they kind of just got into the nitty gritty about how, I don't know, what did you think? Like Quarry kept like kind of going back and forth, but most of the time he's like, this isn't Yorga at all. Like, This is different. This is totally different. But then he also was kind of like, yeah, but they sued, and because that bumped it down. It was at a bigger studio, right? And then I think they got like, right? Wasn't that it? Or they got like threatened with a lawsuit or something and at least got bumped down to like AIP distribution. Was that the thing that you got?
Seemed like there was some legal thing where since this could be confused as a Count Yorga sequel, they threatened to sue him for it, and so they got first rights at the distribution of it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
So he's kind of pissed at Samuel Z. Arkoff and whoever the other person at AIP was. So folks, if you don't know, like B movies from the 60s, AIP did a lot of teen, like drive-in based stuff, just B movies, fun stuff. So Westerns, beach blanket bingo, like hippie stuff, biker exploitation, that type of thing. Decent budgets, it's like Roger Corman type of stuff. It's just like,
sure,
here's a script, here's, $75,000, you have 10 days, make this thing, whatever. It's just, it's there's a lot of fun stuff that comes out of that. But yeah, so they gave Ray Danton this project, and the premise here, if you haven't seen it, it's not on YouTube anymore, unfortunately, is that there's a bunch of hippies living in Topanga Canyon and an empty beach mansion, much like we were joking through the watch along. Everyone's like, wow, so Werewolf by Night's true? There's just gothic mansions all along Malibu? They're just empty?
Yep, they're just empty.
And weird horror stuff happens to them. We were very amused by that.
Yep.
So yeah, a bunch of hippies just kind of live like in a commune in this really cool old house on the beach, and a coffin washes up in the first scene, and a Renfield-like character picks it up and takes it, and we meet some bikers, and they run into the hippies, and then they all get together, and then this strange figure shows up in the shadows. They're all stoned sitting around talking one night, and a figure's just there in the dark during a blackout. He just starts talking about the wisdom of the ages and this cosmic questions, and it's very Maharishi Mahesh Yogi type of stuff.
Yeah, and Corey was talking about that in the commentary, that he was like, well, the Beatles had gotten that, but he was also just like, this is a Manson thing too.
Yeah, Manson's definitely
a Manson vibe.
It's a Manson story with a Maharishi Mahesh Yogi candy coating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's super creepy. Props to the beginning. So the main character's name is Pico, right?
Yeah, Pico.
Yeah, Pico. And so Pico, right from the start, like he's just hanging with a bunch of pretty ladies at this pad, but he ends up like kind of getting into a fight with this biker who's kind of the gruff biker through the whole thing. That's kind of Monk, who's the asshole. And I love that they get in this fight, and Pico shows us that he knows kung fu, and he does this whole thing. And they're fighting, and then the cops come, and then suddenly all of them are friends. They're just like, cheese it! And then they all like run away, and they're hiding, like peeking out behind the bushes. And Monk's like, what were you using in that fight, man? That was cool. And Pico's like, kung fu, man, you want to come for dinner? Come to my house for dinner. I know. He's like, are you Chinese? Pico's like, no. Let's get some food, man. Bring your old lady to our place.
Nothing unifies different countercultures like the cops.
Oh, man. That cracked my shit up when I watched that.
Oh, my God.
So good.
So, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was done.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So this character basically shows up like he wears, robes, wherever he's got long. He's like D'Artagnan. He's like Charles Manson with a perm. He's got a goatee, and he's got long curly locks. And I love this idea that he's like telling these people, like, they're eating they're offering him like fried chicken and stuff like that. And he's like, you can't eat that stuff. That stuff's poison, man. You got to eat like raw, fresh vegetables. Stop smoking dope and blah, 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 and clean this place up. And, it's all because he wants to feed on them, and he just wants clean blood, essentially, is the kind of subtext there. And he starts converting this commune of hippies into his brood of vampires.
Yep, a lot of pretty ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just has that whole vibe of the time. It's pretty tame. There are just like one or two slightly gory scenes. Not really, though. I mean, it's pretty tame for the most part.
It could almost be a TV movie.
Really, it could. I was trying to think. I'm like, okay,
Side boob.
There's side boob. There's like when he's shackled, like his wrists bleed enough
he's
to
like
him to go out.
It's like it's like the PG version of degloving to get out of.
It is.
Handcuffs.
So yeah, but that was the only time, and that stood out just because everything else was so bloodless. And you're right, this could be a fucking TV movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the movie is extremely entertaining. It's really funny. Commentary, I loved a bunch more.
Yeah.
Just because it was fascinating. I love just Corey's a really charming guy. And when was that? Commentary was done like a while ago. The commentary seemed to be done like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, like 2003, I think the DVD came out.
I think it was, yeah. So it was, 20 years ago or so. And he he sounds like a very charming guy. And I don't know, what would he be in 2003? I don't know, in his maybe 60 or something.
He was in his 70s. He died at 83 in 2007.
Wow. Okay, so he was in his 70s. He was pretty together, and
he was very sharp.
He was really sharp and very insightful. I mean, about this silly fucking movie, but it was a lot more entertaining for me. I wish I would have watched it in the watch along. I'm sure it would have been more entertaining. But listening to Corey talk about it, and the other guy, the host, he made some good jokes. Like he really made me laugh like 5 or 6 times.
I like Fred Olen Ray. He makes some sleazy crap, but I mean, he's always making fun movies. And I want to see that movie he was talking about that they had worked on together from 1990 called Spirits.
That's right.
That stars Eric Estrada as a priest who accidentally has sex with a woman, and he's trying to it looks like it's The Exorcist meets, I don't know, it looks crazy.
That sounds so bad.
Yeah, he makes some fun direct-to-video movies that are totally entertaining. So, I'm assuming that the reason this got pulled off of YouTube was because a Blu-ray came out, probably. That's usually what happens. So, I would say if you can find this, well, we did mention one thing. Bobby Boris Pickett, the guy that is the Monster Mash guy, he co-wrote the Monster Mash and sang it. He plays a Harry Nilsson looking hippie dude that sings a Ray Conniff written folk song in the first act of the movie.
What the fuck? It's so weird. That's what they were saying in the commentaries, that Ray Conniff wrote these awful fucking folk songs. Yeah. Terrible. You know, I love Ray Conniff singers. There's a true, I truly unironically love the Ray Conniff singers. And that was weird and disappointing. And then, we were texting about it. So it was Harpo Marx's son,
Bill,
who wrote the score to this.
Yeah. Bill Marx did the score. I mean, there's so much cool stuff. The movie is not groundbreaking. It's Corey admitted during the conversation, we were trying to hit some things, like you said, Pico had the kung fu fight with a biker in the beginning, and Corey admits we were just trying to hit a bunch of beats to kind of get asses in seats or in the cars in the drive-in. And I was thinking to myself, that's Chekhov's kung fu, never came up again. But it's not revolutionary, but it's a solid little vampire story. I prefer his Count Yorga movies more. I don't know if you've seen those. I'm happy to give you the files if you want to see them. They're very solid B vampire movies from the early 70s that came on either side of this. So the first one came out, then Deathmaster, and then The Return of Count Yorga.
Gotcha.
I love them, but this was totally charming. If this came on when I was a kid, if this came on KPTV on a rainy Saturday afternoon, I would be fucking thrilled.
I would have loved this. Yes. KPTV.
So I guess my claw is going to be based on the film alone, and if someone sees this for $10 at Walmart or something, pick it up, man. It's entertaining. If it has the Corey commentary on it, it's worth twice that. So for me, I had a blast with this thing. It's not great, but it's solidly entertaining, and the commentary from Corey is a blast. It's a treasure trove of insights.
Yeah, it is. Claw up for me all the way. I had a great time watching this and listening to the commentary. Totally agree.
Good. Well, I was bummed you couldn't make it, but I know you had your hands full that week. So hopefully you can be there this next one when we watch some really, really sleazy stuff that might make people uncomfortable.
Oh, boy.
I'm hoping there's no sexual violence in this one, but I really, really don't think I can make that guarantee.
No, you can't.
So,
you can't.
This thing has a reputation. So
okay. Yikes. We'll see.
So that's The Cross of the Seven Jewels. And we'll be watching that Saturday. So I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We missed you. Anything else?
I don't think so. There are crazy thunderstorms and just a monsoon happening here in Klamath Falls. It's crazy.
Hope your power doesn't go out.
It flashed for a second.
And
I was like, oop, all right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But,
pray to Corda.
I will pray to Corda. So
we didn't mention. Sorry, I want to mention one thing. I did like this movie more than I realized. I love that fucking monologue where he's talking about basically being like seeing everything from like Jesus to now. Like,
yeah, that was awesome.
That whole monologue was amazing.
Yeah, it was really well written.
So I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah.
So all of his gobbledygook about spirituality, where one of the scenes he said he was just ad-libbing and making up hippie sounding horse shit. Some of that's rad, but like I love that monologue about like I've seen. It's that same thing as like from like Blade Runner, where it's like I've seen things, man. Like, do you understand what it's like to see the Sphinx being finished or whatever? Like all these crazy things. It's so cool.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
So. Yeah. All right. Well, we know what we're doing for the watch along. Join us next Shadow Show in 2 weeks for Rampaging Hulk 3 and Curse of the Seven Gems. What it's called?
Cross of the Seven Jewels.
Cross of the Seven Jewels. All right. Yes. So, until then, hail Satan.
Hail Satan and the Golden Avenger, apparently.
Ugh. I'm not hailing that guy. Fuck him.
All right. Well, that's the Shadow Show.
See you later.
Friggin' freaks and honkies. Every damn last one of you. I'm going to town to get me some steak and whiskey.